On this episode of Found on Our Dead, I'm going to show you how I would clean and paint an engine that I got from the junkyard. Well, that's what I thought I was going to do. Turns out, yeah, I'm going to clean it, I'm going to paint it. Then I'm going to find out it's not at all what I meant to buy, and also it's kind of a debacle. So, stay with me as we get this thing cleaned up, painted, and repaired and ready for installation. Then at the end of the video, I'm going to show you the project that this is bound for. Guys, we're going to try to make 450 to 500 horsepower out of this, not factory trim, mind you. First, we'll just install it and find out if it's got a good foundation or not. So let's get going. Okay, it's a beautiful Saturday morning, and sick week is going on down the street, but yeah, am I going to go to that? Nah, I think I'm just going to clean up this engine. This is a 351 Windsor I bought off of a fellow not too far away from here. He tells me it runs, but I really don't know anything about it. So I've put a scope inside. Everything looks okay. It turns over good. All indications that you can see from the outside and just checking on it is that it's good. So obviously the right thing to do is to paint it up and make it look pretty. And that's going to be my #1 goal for today. But yeah, for now, I'm going to use this Gunk engine degreaser, the original formula. And yeah, we'll see what we get. Make sure that there's no residue. I'm going to use some brake parts cleaner. Seems like the right thing to do. Don't you agree? I'm kind of planning to use this whole can and just make sure there's nothing on it. That's how quickly one of these cans go by. Fire in the hole. Alright, so it's been 10 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and give this thing its last coat. I'm not sure if it showed on camera, guys, but yeah, these aren't supposed to pop out while you're painting them. Little freeze plug. The paint looks good. Texture looks good, so I think we did a good job of getting it down to clean enough metal. I think that it's going to stick. Next goals will be I'm going to swap out the oil pan, and I'm going to pop these valve covers off and get them painted. I'm going to go black on those just to give it a little bit of contrast. The pan's going to be black and those will be black, so the sheet metal pieces on the engine will be black. And then I've got a different timing cover and a water pump for the front. Yeah, let this dry for a little bit and then we'll carry on with the next things. I haven't cracked this engine open at all, so I don't know. When I pop the valve covers off, maybe I can get a good idea if it's had oil changes or not or anything else. So yeah, we'll just move forward. And, looks pretty good. More of the same. It's pretty clean. There's way too much silicone everywhere. Perfect. The silicone, guys. Stop it. Whoever put this together last was a firm believer in lots of orange silk. And I mean lots. Okay, I think there's nothing at all holding span on currently. Okay. Breathe. Here we go.
You know, when you're just going to paint an engine and throw a water pump on it and a timing cover and make it pretty, and then you just maybe brush across the rocker arm and it moves in a way the rocker arm shouldn't.
Was just scraping off this valve cover sealing surface, and I brushed across this, which I don't know how the lighting is going to play nicely, but it just moved in a way it absolutely should not. So I pop this off real quick and think, well, wonder what's going on with this thing. And clearly gacked in a way. It's not even going to come out of the motor. So, yeah, that's fun. Unexpected. Everything else sounded really promising about this engine. So, I believe that our next course of action is we're going to put that oil pan. Yeah, ignore the garage. It's fine. That oil pan onto this engine so that I can set this engine down off the hoist, so that I can take the chain off, so that I can take the intake off, and hopefully not have to take the head off, but if I do, whatever. I've got gaskets and stuff. But what I'm really hoping for is that the push rod's the only issue, and that I don't even know what else, some sort of major issue that I'm going to have to fix. So we're trying to keep this thing low buck for now. I have bigger plans for this engine long term, but I don't have that available to me right now. And so we're really hoping we can salvage what we've got here. But no way to know until just to get moving on it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this oil pan sealing surface cleaned off and get the pan installed. And we'll set this thing down and see what we can get. Once I get this intake manifold off, presuming everything else is okay, it's going to be really hard to put it back on because I'm going to want to get the one I want to use long term. So we'll see what I do with that. But right now, let's just get this chain off. Okay, so yeah, doesn't look too bad. Not too bad. Oh my goodness. Check out that guy. Okay. We got something to figure out there, don't we? Let's figure out what went wrong with that lifter, or what's going on that happened, I guess. But start by getting pushrod out. It's really not too dirty in here. Looks overall pretty good. I only see one that's bent to tarnation, so that's a plus. All right. So it's been about 2 weeks since I recorded last, and in the meantime, I've managed to secure a non-bent pushrod from O'Reilly's. They actually had it in stock around town. Yeah, I've already installed the pushrod, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the engine over by hand and just watch to make sure all the vents are happening as they should. If that goes well, then we'll be putting the intake manifold back on. Let's just see how far we can get. It's a work night, so I don't have all night. It's 7 or 8 o'clock at night already, and I've got to be back at work bright and early tomorrow. So let's see what we can get done. It's just not turning over anymore, and it feels like something's definitely bound on that cylinder that had the the bent push rod. So let me go ahead and take this passenger side head off, and I'll bet we find a bent valve. Maybe that's what caused the whole thing. Okay. This is the cylinder that had that push rod on it, and this intake valve is definitely not all the way closed. I'm betting if I take this one apart, we'll find that it's bent. I can't think why else it wouldn't open. I do now get to see the casting of the cylinder heads. They're D8s, 78. Probably smog era big time. I think the 86 had its own casting gear. I thought they were going to be E6s. So I'm about to call it a night. I took the valve out of the head off camera. I should have done that because it would have been pretty entertaining watching me hammer it out. But the valve I thought was going to be bent. I can't see that it is. I got the valve cleaned up, and at first it wouldn't even seat fully in the bore, and if it did, it sure wouldn't come free, but it's moving freely now. I think it's good enough to see if it runs. Okay guys, I've been a bad YouTuber. I apologize, but off camera I went ahead and pulled the cylinder head off of the passenger side because once I put that new push rod in there, the engine wouldn't rotate anymore because there's so much carbon buildup on the valve stem that it was really an obstruction. So I went ahead and pulled the cylinder head off the other side, and I'm going to do the same treatment over there. If you guys are an ASC certified mechanic and know all the right ways to do things and are proud of your work, look away, go ahead and fast forward, 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to show everybody else the wrong way to do this. And yeah, that's good enough for now. We're going to not run these heads for very long anyways, I hope. But in the meantime, I was super stoked to find this deal on Facebook Marketplace. I got these $200 valve covers for $20. Okay. So tomorrow I'm going to come out here and go through the other side header and go through the other side head and make sure that the intake valves are good enough to move up and down at least. Give everything a little bit of oil, and yeah, maybe paint the intake. I haven't done that yet. And this thing's going to be about ready to throw together. I do have mocked up on here the infamous eBay Tri-Wise. I didn't realize how small these things were. I haven't looked at them in a long time. But let me know in the comments how dumb you think I am for trying to use 1.5-inch primaries to build 500 horsepower. I think I'm pretty dumb. What I'm going to do tonight is take the intake valves out of each cylinder and just see if they've got similar carbon buildup that the other one had. Yeah, this one's not jammed up like the other one was, but oh yeah, there's definitely some buildup on the back of this. It's not nearly so bad as the other ones were, especially where it rides up and down in the valve guide. But you know what, we're here, so I'm going to go ahead and clean it up. I'm going to use that term lightly. So if you have a high dollar engine that you're trying to make last for a very long time and get the most usage out of it, don't do this. But if you're going to use these heads long enough to see that the engine runs and then pitch them, yeah, go for it, whatever. I've got some gray Scotch-Brite here. I think this stuff's, I don't know, do I want to say 400 grit, roughly? Yeah, I don't remember. It's pretty mild. It's not very abrasive. And I've been using a little bit of Chem Tool carbon choke cleaner as a, well, lubricant / cleaner. On the others, where all the wear was in the part where it slides up and down in the valve guide, that was what I really focused on cleaning on. And I just give this a light pressure and a little bit of spin and movement. I'm definitely not trying to take any material off or anything like that. I'll go ahead and hit the back of the valve just a little bit too if I can. So what that did is definitely cleaned up where it rides back and forth to the valve guide. Looks nice. And it took some of the high points off the back of the valve, but I mean, it's still pretty messy. A little bit of that same cleaner on a paper towel. Yeah, it's totally lint free.
it's not. I apologize. I wish I had some. I don't today. But yeah, I'm exerting 2 or 3 pounds of force before that came loose that time. Yeah, this is almost as bad as some I saw on the other side. See if you guys can see it.
Come on, zoom in on my face there. There we go. Okay.
Just,
nice little tune, isn't it?
yeah, all right.
Okay. That job is done. I'll get this head reinstalled, and we'll be reinstalling the intake. Probably throw the other header and valve cover on it, and a carburetor just to make it look pretty and make me feel good. That's all I want. I just want to feel good. But yeah, I'm going to keep plugging, and I'll tune back in with you after a minute. Okay, well, it's coming together. Don't know if y'all remember from what's probably 10 minutes ago in this video, but it's been weeks for me. I set out to wash this and paint it, and thought I had a running engine. Turned out I had a bent pushrod and some very, to say sticky valves does not do it justice, but I think it warranted what we've done here, which is take the heads off, clean the valve stems, you know, professionally, and we've got new head gaskets, and took the intake off, which I wasn't originally going to do, but it's pretty in blue now. I don't know if I've shown it to you on camera yet, but yeah. It's kind of late for me tonight. It's a work night, so I do need to get this wrapped up, but I can't wait. I'm going to go ahead and torque this head down, and we'll probably mock up the intake on it and the header on this side too, just to make me feel good again. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll buy that. Yeah. Looks good to me. Now I realize I'm not trying to pull anything off on you guys. I don't have intake gaskets on. The intake is not installed, just like that. But always is good for my spirits to get a visual, just to see things coming together. And that they are. It at least looks like an engine again. I mean, it looks more like an engine than it ever has since I got it. So that's a win for me. Quick recap. We've got the Explorer timing cover and water pump. I'm going to have to order a special 28-ounce balancer for this engine because the 351 is a 28-ounce, not a 50-ounce, so the Explorer unit will not work. But got this oil filter adapter installed to fit into the Ranger. We've got the, I forget the application, 65 to 70 Mustang eBay special headers. And yeah, looks like they're going to work out pretty good. I've always been a little bit worried. I don't know if you can tell how much that kicks in on the passenger side, but I imagine for the exhaust system, we'll have to jog it back out straight real quick so it doesn't run into the training. Man, it looks good with those valve covers. It looks good with that exhaust. Let's back up and get an angle here.
Heck yeah.
So this is my 1997 Ford Ranger. It came stock with a 3.0 V6 and an automatic transmission. I drove this thing all the way through my 20s and into my 30s, and it was with me through some really hard times and some really good times. And I mean, I drove this thing while I raised my daughter for the most part. She's all grown now, but this thing's tied to me in a way that's completely irrational. And maybe if you guys like your vehicles too, maybe you can relate to what I'm saying here. But it's just a 97 Ranger. You can buy these things for $300 or $400 in this condition if you really tried to. It's got no monetary value, but it's near and dear to me for sure. So the new goal for this thing, I'm going to build that 5.8 liter that you saw in the garage. And you know, right now it probably makes like 200 horsepower because it's mid 80s, but the goal is to build it up to 450 plus horsepower, drop it in this thing, and guys, I'm going to try to get to duct tape drags next year in Tucson, Arizona. That's not going to be an easy road because my goal is to drive from here in Missouri to there, and that's like a 17-hour trip, and I don't want to trailer this thing. I want to drive this thing all the way there and then make a 10-second pass down the drag strip, and I don't even know if that's possible. I'm not a drag racer by trade. It's not something I've done a lot of, but yeah, I think we can take a shot and we'll have fun doing it, and that's really all I'm after. So, and those goals that I just mentioned are honestly, they're a little outside my reach. I don't have a whole lot of time and I don't have a whole lot of money to put into this thing, which makes duct tape drags the perfect menu maybe. But yeah, I could really use you guys' help. If you would like and subscribe, comment, share, all the YouTube-y things that people say. I know you get tired of hearing that maybe, but it really does help. It helps motivate me, and it could help along the way in other ways as well. So I really hope that you'll take the time to do that. It's free for you, really helps me out, means a lot to me. And yeah, I'm excited to get this thing going, and we'll come back in the next ones. I mean, I'm not sure it's gonna be the very next video, but subsequent videos will be getting the engine installed. I've seen a lot of people put a 302 in one of these. I've not seen anybody put a 5.8 liter in it. So, you know, I'm sure I'm gonna have some obstacles ahead of me, and we'll just do the best we can with what we've got, as always. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.